Hi everyone, and welcome back to It's a Twin Thing. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday, where I was sharing a little bit more testimony on leading up to the birth of the babies. So the babies were born on the 28th of Jan, and so that was the Monday night, Tuesday morning in the early morning, and I was discharged then on the Friday from the hospital. But during the surgery, I did lose a lot of blood. Most women on the average will lose about half a litre, and I lost 1.3. So they were considering doing a blood transfusion, but the next day they checked my hemoglobin levels and my blood levels had gone back to normal, which was great. So that was good for me. And then so for me it was recovery. So there was really good aspects of being in the special care unit, in the sense, obviously I couldn't drive for 8 weeks, and the kids were in the special care unit for about 6 weeks. So it allowed me to, I would go to the hospital every day and come home at night. So during the night it did allow me to rest and recover from the surgery. However, it was emotionally really hard leaving the kids every day. So I would get there in the early morning and I would leave late at night and spend the whole day in the hospital with the children, and watch their development, learn how to be a mum. So in regards to breastfeeding, my milk never came in. It came in a little bit, but it didn't really come in to its full capacity. So I would get, basically, I was expressing at home, I was expressing at the hospital, trying to get, I'd spoken to lactation nurses, I was on medication to help my milk come through, I was on fennel teas and booby cookies, and I tried everything possible to get my milk to come through, but it didn't. I'm not sure why. It could have been that the babies were prem, it could have been the stress of being in the special care unit, numerous reasons. Could be genetic thing. I know with my mum, for me, she breastfed for I think 4 weeks and then basically ran out of milk. So there could be numerous reasons as to why. So I would get, basically I would sit and express for half an hour to an hour, and I'd get maybe 1 or 2 mils. So I gave whatever I could to the children. But they were being fed. So actually, in the special care unit, we, because my daughter, so Daniela was born at 1.3 kilos and Joshua was born at 1.9 kilos. So because she was quite underweight and very preemie, there was a program, it was a donor program basically. So for women that had an influx of breast milk, they would donate their milk, and it would be completely sterilized and everything. There was a screening process of what they couldn't be smokers or drinkers or anything like that if they were going to donate their milk. So Daniela was on donated breast milk until she reached probably about 1.5 kilo, and then she no longer qualified for it. So she did get a little bit of it, but they were on formula and they did great. So initially, because I was so preemie, they were being fed via tube in their nose that went down into their stomach, and they were in the humidity cribs for probably 4 of the 6 weeks that we were in there. Daniela came out at one point and then had to go back in. She was having issues with her heart, so they just wanted to monitor a little bit. And so basically in the humidity cribs, there's they set it at a temperature so the babies can utilize their energy on growing healthily instead of using the energy to maintain their temperature. So it assists in the growing. So it's not as full on for them. And then eventually, once they start to be able to climatize their own temperature, then they drop the temperature in the humidity crib, and eventually they'll be able to come out because they can maintain their own temperature. So that was part of the process that we learnt, I guess. I did get what they call baby blues. So it's 3 days after giving birth. I was just so emotional. I remember being in the special care unit and the kids being on my chest and looking for the milk, going for the boob, and obviously I had nothing, so I just broke down and cried because I felt like I couldn't feed my babies, which was a really traumatic thing. but they were so healthy, and we were so blessed because they were healthy. So I had to come to terms with being okay with not having breast milk, and that took me a little bit of time, but I was watching them grow so well. So for me, it ended up being okay that they weren't having my breast milk. I just assumed I'd have the babies and naturally the breast milk would come and it would be a simple process, but it wasn't. And so so I was seeing the lactation nurses and everything, and they basically would say you're doing everything that you can, and some women just don't get the milk that comes through. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things. So that took a little bit, and obviously being a first-time mum of twins, there was so much I didn't know. So being in the special care unit was great in that respect, because I got to learn a lot of things that I didn't know. Just with feeding and sleeping and bathing them. So in a sense, it was really, really good. And my husband was with me too, so he got to learn about all those things as well. So next week, I'll leave it there, and next week I'll continue on with our journey in the special care unit over the 6 weeks. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I hope you all have a really great weekend, and we'll see you all on Monday. Cheers.